In 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
You think that, Patty?
I agree.
All right, listen, I want to start with this. Oh, what a night. Watching Tottenham on a Tuesday night. You play
get out!
because you're
Get
fucking
out!
shy. What a feeling, what a night.
You can't then tell me that two players go out and you strengthened as well, and then all of a sudden your whole season crumbles. It's crazy. And to me, if Arsenal don't make top 4 this season, that is one of the biggest bottle jobs in recent Premier League history. But imagine me then turning around and saying, oh, you guys are celebrating today, but 3 weeks ago you were unhappy. That's football. But it doesn't make you a flip-flop fan.
Yeah,
You're actually enjoying it. I'm not happy, man. I was underwhelmed. I was quite shocked when he was when we were linked to him. I mean, we had some big hitters in there originally, Conte, Poch, you know, so then to be then linked with Nuno and for him to get the nod over all the other guys.
Grin. Almost as big as he is, because he's like 6'5". Very good friend, very good person. Previously of our channel friends Views TV is the one and only Patrick Tyrant.
Yes, what's happening, people? It's your boy Patrick Tyrant, aka Young Swaggy Daniels. When you see the T, see the P. When you see the peanut represents T. Let's go. I think we're live. Yeah, man. I think we are live. Yes, what's going on? It's your boy Patrick Tyrant, aka Young Swaggy Daniels. When you see the T, see the P. When you see the peanut represents T. Let's go. I shouldn't even represent this, should I? Like, really and truly, after the slaughter, the battering, the annihilation, the embarrassment, I don't even know, everything you want to call it, I shouldn't even do it to myself. But, you know, I'm Tottenham through and through, on Spurs through and through. And I just want to shout out everyone that's tuned in. I hope you're good. I hope you're well. We're already at Thursday. I hope you've had a good week so far. Obviously, we're gearing up to the weekend now, so I hope you're looking forward to that. You've got things planned, and yeah. Tottenham aren't playing this week. We thank God. It's a welcome rest. And the thing is, it's a bit of a sticky one because obviously our next opponent is Arsenal. There's no way you didn't, we didn't, I didn't. There's no way you didn't tune into last night's Champions League quarterfinal. You know, we were all Bayern Munich, Forza Bayern for the greater good and all of that good stuff. And obviously they had Harry Kane and Eric Dyer playing, so 2 ex-Spurs boys, and it was beautiful to see, man. Bayern Munich went through. Eric Dyer with a desirable performance, man of the match performance. Eric Dyer, you know, somebody who couldn't even get into the Spurs team at the Bayern Munich on the biggest stage with everyone watching, pocketed Saka, Havertz, and Martinelli, and Odegaard, and Trossard, and Gabriel Jesus. Oh man, it was brilliant. It was beautiful, man. It was beautiful. And you know, I'm not one of these guys. Like, obviously I loved Harry Kane. I still love him. I really wanted him to stay. He left. I want Harry Kane to win stuff. Obviously they didn't win the Bundesliga. Please, Harry Kane, go and win the Champions League, man. You deserve it. And you know, Man City are out, Arsenal are out. He's got to get through a really good Real Madrid team. But if he can get through that side of the draw, then you should say, you know, that they're favourites to win it. I really want Kane to do well. You know, I still love the guy. And it was nice to see, do you know what I mean? I had so many, I'm not going to name any names, but obviously I know a lot of Arsenal fans because, you know, growing up in Tottenham, North London, I'm surrounded by gooners, unfortunately. And through all the podcasting stuff I do, I know a lot of good Arsenal content creators, but some of them are quite annoying. And some of them are really disrespectful going into the tie. They were saying, bring me Bayern. It's a crap Bayern Munich team. Harry Kane's a bum. Eric Dyer versus this person and that person, we're going to have a field day. And I told them that the Champions League's different. Like, it's a different kettle of fish, irrespective of people's league forms. In the Champions Leagues and the bright lights, you can see people freeze, people come to life, and you've got to be in it to win it, but also you've got to know how to navigate through these tough knockout fixtures. And you could see that yesterday, the Arsenal just didn't have basically what it takes in the crunch, you know, to get the job done. So yeah, beautiful. Happy for Harry Kane. Like I said, for the greater good, we can't see Arsenal winning any silverware on our patch. You know, they're a very good team. Obviously, they're better than us, but I'm shameless, man. I don't want to see them win. When you see Sky Sports News and all these other publications running this agenda that Tottenham fans are secretly supporting Arsenal last night, no, we weren't. I've been saying it for time, like for ages, even before all of this nonsense. If we don't finish fourth, I didn't want Champions League football. And that was even before the coefficiency stuff, when they were saying that fifth was more than likely to get it because everyone was in and blah, blah, blah. England have had a horrible 2 weeks in European football, and pretty much everyone's out. You know, Liverpool are 3-0 down. They're probably looking a bit shaky. West Ham are playing the best team in Europe right now, and Bayern Leverkusen, they're probably not going through. Aston Villa hold a slim lead. Well, they won't they? But anyway, with all that being said, if you don't finish in the top four, I personally don't believe you deserve Champions League football. I'd rather go in at the level that we are at, which is European, Europa, and you play that to win it, and you know you do your bit. As it stands, we're fifth. We can still get fourth. Don't get me wrong. I'm not one of these guys writing off fourth, but I will touch on it. Our league form and everything else is looking very shaky. So if we finish fifth, we finish fifth. So be it. We dust our shoulders off. We go again. You know, I could digress and get into other stuff, but all I'm going to say is that you will finish where you deserve to finish. And if it's not top four, then you deserve to play Europa League football. Do you know what I mean? I'm not one of these snobs that, Champions League or bust. We played in the Champions League 5, 6, 7 years in a row. And ultimately, what did it get us? They talk about it being able to pull, bigger players and all of that. We did that. The manager wasn't backed. We were in the Champions League year after year. And sometimes we would sacrifice cup runs for league form and all of that. And ultimately, it's a nothingness cycle. I want to see the club progress. I want to see the club actually compete. And ultimately, I want to see the club win trophies. So if that's a Europa League trophy, then so be it. But anyway, I digress. The reason that you're here is because obviously this is Chatty Patty episode 2.6. And we played Newcastle on the weekend. And we absolutely got smashed. Like, it's not even funny. It's absolutely criminal. My guy, Lee McQueen. Yes. Last word on Spurs family. Yes. What's good? How you doing? So, yeah, I'm kind of jumping all over the place. But basically what I will say is after the Newcastle game, I went live on... we went live straight afterwards. So what they call the A-team on Last Word on Spurs. So me... Crackers, Vicky, obviously the host, and Lee McQueen, my guy, who's obviously in the chat. And we went live. It was raw, it was rugged, it was passionate, and it was just literally everything that had happened. And we just spoke our truths and straight after the game. And obviously it's a bit heated, not between ourselves, but obviously our views. And a few people asked me if, a few days later, can I speak to Crackers and has his view changed and this and that? If you haven't watched it, you need to watch it. So Last Word on Spurs, the match reaction show after the Newcastle battering away. And it was really good, to be honest. And we just spoke on a few things that have been going on and what we saw on the pitch and everything like that. So this is obviously the match reaction a couple of days after. So I've had a bit of time to mull on it, let it fester, let it marinate. How do I feel and all of this and all of that. And I still feel just as pissed off, man. Just as pissed off. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not one of these guys who feels that you have a divine right to win any game. You don't. If you don't turn up on the day, anyone can beat anyone. The beauty of football is that, again, it's not, typically, yes, every game will have a favourite and every game, you should be able to see who the better team is. But sometimes it's an even game. Sometimes things will work in your favour. Sometimes they won't. Newcastle away, St. James's Park is always a toughie. It was a favourable one in terms of when it was played because they had a lot of players out, a lot of injuries. We went into the game in decent form, and I expected a result. I'm not going to lie. So going 2-0 down at half-time, I was like, okay, Tottenham are a team that typically play better in the second half and typically do usually concede a lead first. So I was like, okay, cool. But the game just petered out and... we just never got into it, man. Never got into it. Unfortunately, as well, Micky VDV, who I feel has been one of the best signings of the season and one of the best centre-backs in the league, irrespective of his age and this and that and how long he's been here. He's been fantastic. But unfortunately, he just decided to have a shit show while everyone was watching. Rio Ferdinand and all the guys on BT Sports or TNT Sports as they call it now, bigged them up before the game. Kiss of death, commentators curse. The guy was slipping and sliding and literally was Davinson Sanchez 2.0 on the day. And Isaac, who's probably the most informed Premier League striker, brilliant striker, just had a field day. And it was bad, man. It was bad. And yeah, it's a tough one because you know, we went into the game in decent form. I expected to see better than what I saw. And the thing is, you can go down fighting. Don't get me wrong. You can lose any game. But I've seen us play games and lose, and you know, you're like, how the hell did we lose that? I.e., West Ham at home and Aston Villa at home. You know, the reverse fixtures of the games we've just played. At the end of the day, you're scratching your head like, how the hell did we lose that? We absolutely battered them in every department, and they got a jammy goal here or a jammy goal there, or something went in there. But after that game, you have to be honest and say we were second best all over the pitch, like absolutely all over the pitch. The only thing that we were better in is retaining the ball, as in like we had more possession. And, you know, possession stats can flatter to deceive. It's all well and good having all of the ball, but if you don't do anything with it, then what's the point? Like, what are we trying to do? Put teams to sleep? How can we have, I think we had, let me just make sure I get this right. We had 73% of the ball and we ended up conceding 4 goals. How can a team have 27% of the ball and score 4? And they looked comfortable. They could have scored a couple more, for being honest. Like it was a shambles, man. And it's all well and good being a dominant team and having the ball, but you've got to absolutely put the ball into dangerous places. You've got to put the other team on the back foot. You've got to obviously create chances, take your chances, and put the game to bed. And we just don't look ruthless in front of goal. We don't have the killers. You know, Timo Werner. Surprisingly, I saw some stats from Data MB, and they're saying that per 90. So when you see the stats, you've got to understand it's not in the game, it's per 90 minutes. And he's played X amount of games now, so they can put the stats out. And he's basically the most prolific winger in Europe and the Premier League. And it's absolutely shocking. And this is like stats, dribbles, stats obviously, crosses, take-ons, dribbles, and creating chances. But at the end of the day, when it comes to finishing, he's probably in the lower percentiles. And the thing with Timo Werner, I will actually, whilst we're here, because this is just a conversation between you and I, and obviously it's gonna flow, and you know, just it's gonna go wherever it goes. And yeah, let's talk about Timo Werner whilst we're talking about it. So Timo Werner, keep or get rid. I was open to the signing when we signed him in January. We all know Timo Werner's flaws. We all know his attributes, his strong points. For me, like I said back then, is he better than Brian Gill? The answer is yes. Was he better than an injured Valise, who obviously couldn't get in the team and isn't a winger anyway? He's a striker, yes. Manor Solomon injured for the whole season, so obviously he's not there on the left wing. Perisic, who I loved, absolute baller, completely done his knee, isn't going to play for Spurs. Obviously, he's gone back home and now he's out for the season. So when you looked at our left wing options, it was a smart decision, especially while Son was away at the Asia Cup. And he come in and he did a decent job against Man United straight away. He was effective. The other games he was effective, and he is effective on his day. But if we're asking Timo to be our starting winger week in and week out at the level that we want to get to, i.e. be a top 4 team and then push on, I'm sorry, but he's not the guy. Like, if you want depth and a player to come in, stretch a game in the last 20, run at players, which he's good at, getting in behind, cool, fantastic. You bring him on in the last 20 minutes, or to change a game at halftime if things aren't working, or if someone's injured, cool. But I'm seeing Timo Werner literally starting week in and week out, and that's not what I wanted to see. The problem is with us is that Richarlison's not reliable. So he's a decent number 9 on his day. He had a good little run where he was scoring goals, and he's up to 10 goals now in the Premier League, which is cool. But the guys can't stay fit, and you know, it was a little niggle. He's out for a game, then it's 2 games, then it's 3 games. We haven't seen him in a while. When he does play, he's playing patchy minutes, and then he's out again for another, and he's not reliable. So we're having to put Son as the number 9. I love Son. I think he's fantastic. We all know he's fantastic. One of the best finishers in world football. But he's not an out-and-out striker. He's not a number 9. If we're being honest, his game isn't back to the, you know, his best game or best version of Son Heung-min or Heung-min Son isn't back to goal, bringing the ball down, controlling it, and bringing people into play. You want to see Son making runs and Maddison or whoever feeding in Kulusevski or whoever's on the wing, Brennan Johnson, threading that ball in, Son one-on-one with the keeper. Typically, he's going to score it. But what we're seeing Son do now at the moment is very easy to mark and play against. And if you low block a Son, he's going to find it very difficult. You know, as soon as he gets the ball in a decent area, they crowd around him, and it's hard. And Son's been effective in a lot of games, and he's created a lot of chances. He's got 9 assists. I think he's got like 14 or 15 goals. This is me just going off the top. I can check it and stat check it. I know he's got 9 assists for certain though. But obviously, we're not seeing an effective Son at the moment. But it's needs must, and obviously, this is why we need better quality. We need some players to stay fit. We need a gunman. We need a striker. We need a real number 9. Because at the moment, what we've got up top isn't doing it. Then we're having to play Son at a position, and you know, it's not the best. We're not getting the best out of Son, which means we're not getting the best version of Tottenham, and it's a shame. So, in terms of Timo Werner, keep or get rid. I'll be brutally honest. I don't want to see Timo Werner starting week in and week out next year. I think he's a nice guy. I don't think he's done any wrong in the sense of he's come into Tottenham and he's helped us in games. But there's been games where he's missing, and these misses are costing us big time. Do you know what I mean? They're costing us big time. And for me, if Tottenham want to go to the next level, we need owners that are really going to invest in the team. You know, history tells us that Daniel Levy's not that guy. Yeah, let's have it right. From a footballing standpoint, he's not that guy. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I can be proven wrong, but a left foot doesn't change his spots. This guy flatters to deceive. He'll get us to a position where we look okay, and then when he really needs injection or cash to push on, he doesn't do it. If Ange somehow gets top 4, I say somehow, if we get top 4, it's obviously because we deserve it. We are in and around the mix. But if Ange gets top 4, he would then say we've had a successful season, blah, 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 which we have on paper. But that's not where you don't rest on your laurels. You push on, don't you? You want to then obviously invest in the team to take it to the next level. I can't see him doing that because he's never done it. So if he's not going to do it, then with all due respect, just piss off. Like, I'm a football fan. I support Tottenham because of the football. All the other stuff is nice. The stadium is beautiful. It's fantastic. Every time I go there, I feel privileged to go into the stadium like that. But that's where it stops. Like, other than that, I don't care. Like, you can bring me to Old White Hart Lane. I'll play, you know, we'll go down to the marshes. We'll play anywhere as long as the team's actually doing something and competing. And right now, it's not. COVID is over. You know, we've got a solid manager. Tottenham is a team now where the stadium is open and it's making money. We've got F1 go-karting, we've done Burna Boy, we've done WizKid, we've done Beyonce, we've done Guns N' Roses, we've done Pink, we've done Lady Gaga, we've done anything and everything. You know, all of this stuff is great, but if it's not getting reinvested into the team, which we were told it would, I don't give a flying. Do you know what I mean? And I just want to see a difference in the summer. I'm not one of these guys that's Champions League or bust. At the end of the day, we will finish where we deserve to finish, and I'm okay with that. This is Ange's first year. I'm realistic. Of course, I want us to play in the Champions League, but if we don't get there, it's not the be-all and end-all, as long as there's progression. Regardless of where we finish, we need to invest in the squad to get better. I need to see that investment. Right now, if I'm being honest, and I had to call it, gun to my head, do you think that Daniel Levy is going to really invest in the team and the squad? I'd say no. The optimist in me, you know, the faithful fan, the believer, I want to believe that this guy will change. But the realist in me, the guy who's seen it time and time again, the guy who's seen Pochettino be a much better version of all the guys that are lauding Arteta and all of these guys and this and that. Pochettino was doing this back in 2015, 2016 with less funds. And when he needed to be backed, he wasn't. So, do you know what I mean? I'm just like, I'm tired of it, man. I'm bored of it. I need to see better. I need to see it. Otherwise, just like, with all due respect, Tottenham are a massive club. You've put us to a good level. Don't be an idiot. Don't try and set the buying price at 2 billion or 3 billion, which is unrealistic. Set it at a decent buying price. You've made a lot of money off the club, and move on so that we can, as football fans, have something to get behind and be positive about and really push on. And you know, some people may look at me and think I'm a bit of a snob. Like, Tottenham are 5th in the Premier League right now, one of the best leagues in the world. If I'm complaining like this, like, what are the clubs like are in League 2, League 3, with all due respect, the Championship? There's a lot of clubs that are doing worse off than us, but that's all well and, you know, that's all well and good. But the reality is, it's all relative to your situation. And our situation is we are a cash-rich club. one of the biggest clubs in the world. We create so much revenue. You know, we've got everything there to be really successful, but we're just like, we're a sleeping giant, because it's literally like you could just turn that switch and we could really, like, you know, we could take off. But it's like we're being held back. And how long can you be held back? Like, you want to play at the highest level, but you don't really want to invest and get the best players. You know, you have a manager, you keep fucking about, you don't really have a strategy. You get all these win now managers in, you don't give them the tools to win now. You then get a manager like Postecoglou, who is a rebuild manager. He's someone to come in, shake things up, put down a philosophy and identity, but you got to back the guy. You know, we will talk about Ange Postecoglou as soon as I brought him up. And, you know, is Ange Postecoglou a genius, or is he tactically naive? I want to hear your guys' thoughts on this. What do you guys think? Because I'm kind of in the middle. I mean, at the beginning, yeah, what's good? So yeah, Jacob, United Spurs of America, respect. You know, one of the good guys in the podcasting platform and out there. Like, yeah, man, me and this guy connected, and yeah, he's a good guy, good personality. If you're not following him, if you're not subbing to his channel, do so. Brings great content all the time, and he knows his stuff. Do you know what I mean? I need to jump on more of his stuff. He needs to jump on my stuff. When I start opening up this channel and getting people on, he's definitely going to be one of the first people I get on. Such a good guy. So yeah, if you're watching this, Jacob, respect. And anyone that doesn't know him already, follow him on Twitter, follow him on here, subscribe to him, and yeah, you'll be better off for it. And then P as well, great person. Do you know what I mean? Yes, my own channel, that's it. So, you know, with all the stuff I do for other people, it's also time to obviously build my brand. And, you know, this is why I'm doing this, and just being consistent and putting it out there and all of that good stuff. So yeah, if you're new here for the first time, hit that subscribe button, share this. If you like me, if you like the content, like it, you know, show it to your people, then put it in the group chats, you know, follow me on Instagram and Twitter, and obviously, yeah, subscribe to the channel, put that bell on so you know exactly when I go live and all of that. But getting back to what I said, Ange Postecoglou, you know, what do you guys actually think of him? He's done a brilliant job so far, don't get me wrong. I think he's set up an identity. Spurs are a team now that entertain, they play on the front foot. But with all that being said, you know, we've definitely hit a snag. We've hit a brick wall. Our away form, I'm going to get into that as well in 2024, is a cause for concern. And also it seems now as well that good managers have found out how to play against Ange, how to set up to nullify what we do. And this is where you need a plan B. And obviously they can say plan A, plan B is to do plan A better. But also at some point you have to tweak your tactics and adjust to who you're playing. And the best managers, there's no shame in that. Yes, you have a set identity and you play a certain way. But trust me, when Tuchel yesterday adapted his tactics to nullify certain players, or you see Pep Guardiola, sometimes he tinkers too much, but he definitely tinkers and changes things in game. You see Jurgen Klopp do that. Even Arteta, I don't want to, you know, I hate Arsenal, and obviously, but you got to give the guy credit. He is a good manager. He's done really well for Arsenal. Questions will arise if, you know, how they finish the season. Is he the guy to really take them to the next step? Is he their Brendan Rodgers, or can he be trusted to really step up? Obviously, that's not my concern. I don't really care, but I'm just talking in terms of from a managerial aspect. These guys are good managers, but they also tweak things. And I just need to see Ange tweak things a little, because we can't play the same way in every game. And when we get found out, like Eddie Howe's a good manager. And obviously the way he played, they were really aggressive. They pressed us hard as soon as we played out from the back. They forced our centre-backs into mistakes, and they pounced, and they obviously, you know, they capitalised on our mistakes. You saw that happening, but you didn't really change things. And I just need to see a bit of tactical nous now, you know, like this is the Premier League, the toughest, most ruthless, you know, league in the world. Like, there's no respite in this league. Like Luton, Bournemouth, whoever you're playing, Wolves, like if you're not on your A game, these teams will beat you. Fulham away. I don't even know why I'm saying Fulham away. They're a good team, but what I'm trying to say is that they're a team that typically you should be beaten. But if you don't bring your A game and don't really step out, you'll get smashed up. And we got smashed up. We got battered, absolutely battered on Saturday, man. 12:30 kickoff. And it's so annoying when you play that early game and you don't win. It just fucks up your whole weekend, man. It's so fucking... I was fuming the whole weekend. And obviously, I'm not trying to make football ruin my, you know, mood and all of that stuff. But it does. Ultimately, it does. You know, you invest a lot into it. We're massive fans. We're passionate. it's a big part of our life and our makeup. And when you see your team get played in every statistical category, and you just, it hurts. And what I will do, actually, we're going to talk about the game and talk about some of the statistical points, and we'll talk about the lineup to begin with. So, going into the game, I had no qualms. The lineup that was put out, there was no surprises. Let me move that banner just so you guys can see what I'm saying and you can see the table properly. But yeah, we went into that game with no shocks. Pretty much the lineup that you would like to see. Fikayo in goal, Udogie on the left, Van de Ven and Romero as the partner and centre backs, Pedro Porro on the right, Yves Bissouma and Bentancur in the middle. Obviously, it depends on the game. You could put Sarr in, but I have no issues with that. Defensive midfield pairing, the sixes, the eights, if you want to, well, probably 6-8s, whatever you want to call them. Madders through the middle, Johnston on one wing, Timo on the other, Son up top. Cool. No issues with that whatsoever. That's a strong lineup. You expect them to go there and do something. Obviously, Newcastle, when you look at that team, Dubravka in goal, he's not their starting goalkeeper. Good goalkeeper, but obviously Nick Pope's their number one. Jacob Murphy starting as a wing back. Fabian Schär, Emil Kraft, Dan Burn. Dan Burn, good player. He would start. Schär probably, Kraft no. Longstaff, Gomes and Anderson. Only Bruno G starts in their strongest 11. Anthony Gordon, baller, definitely coming into his own now, and you can see that he's a top player. Isaac, fantastic player. Obviously, we'll get into that. And Harvey Barnes, good player, but he doesn't make the strongest 11 if we're being real. So when I saw that lineup, saw he's on the bench, I'm like, cool, okay, let's give it a go. But we were just shit, man. We were just so, it hurts to see it. They were better in every statistical category. And there's something that's really, really that caught my eye, and it made me think about things. Sorry, what am I doing? And it's this, and I'm going to show you guys. Tackles won. So Bruno Gomes, basically, even though, don't forget, we had a lot more of the ball. So yeah, he is in a position to obviously put more tackles in because we had a lot more of the ball. But it just goes to show we were nowhere near the level needed to obviously compete in this game. Lo Celso was only on the pitch for like 20 minutes, and obviously he got in 2 tackles. The thing about Lo Celso, even though we know the quality and his reliability and all of that can be questioned, but the guy always puts in a shift when he plays. I give him that. Even after the game, he had a bit of a spat with was it Bruno Gomes? I think it was actually. Yeah, it's one of the guys, and they were like basically saying 4-0, and he was going off and whatever. But yeah, we just didn't show the desire and the hunger. There was no commitment to win the ball back. There was no desire to win the ball back. There was no one to really change things up. There was no one to really, we had a lot of the ball, but we weren't doing anything. There was no passes threaded into the danger zone. There was no one really creating chances. In the first 20 minutes, before they scored the goal, we actually looked like we were in control. We actually looked like we weren't really threatening, but we had a few chances and we looked okay. But as soon as they scored that first goal, I was like, okay, cool, Micky Van de Ven fell over really bad. Isaac dropped the shoulder kind of quickly and sent him to the shops, and it was a bad fall. And then literally they cut to the, Newcastle had the new sponsor on their shirt about the deaf kids. It was a nice touch. You got the vibrating shirts, and it goes off to give the kids that can't really hear a feel of what the atmosphere, what the stadium's like, and this and that. And then as I pan into the kids, they pan back and it's 2-0. I'm like, wow, man, what's going on? And you're just like, is this going to be one of those days? And 2-0 at halftime, you're like, okay, we might get back into it, but we didn't. And it just went from bad to worse. And yeah, what I found very interesting as well is that the corners, we seem to be so static on corners. We do zonal marking, obviously. And the point of the zonal marking, the reason I'm bringing this point up is Newcastle had 16 corners to our 3. And every time they had a corner, I felt nervous. I didn't feel comfortable. I felt on edge, thinking this is going to be a goal. They were first to the ball in every single corner or every department. Now and again, we got the ball away. But obviously, typically, it was because they headed it away or they messed up. And lo and behold, they punished us for the 4th goal. Schär scored from a corner header, unmarked. go. And it just seems like the zonal marking isn't working. We're very vulnerable and weak on corners. Every team knows to crowd Vicario. We're not defending him as well. Like, we're not really, you see a guy crowding Vicario, stand next to him and make sure he doesn't impede the goalkeeper and stand on him and this and that and stop him from jumping and getting out to the ball. We did that in the first 2 games after it happened, and now we seem to have just left Vicario to his own devices. But we're just getting basically battered in the corner in our penalty box. We're really soft and weak on corners, and this zonal marking is in marking a space and not a man. It's not working, man. It needs to change. If I can see it and everyone I talk to can see it, how can they not see it? We need someone, a set piece specialist, defensive corner specialist, whatever, to get in there and really sort things out, because it's a worry. And obviously we've got some big games coming up, and if we're going to defend like that, God help us, literally, God help us, because it's shambolic and we just keep conceding chance after chance after chance from set pieces. And I don't know why as well. We just seem to always be under the cosh on corners. Like in the last couple of games, I seem to notice the other team having 3 or 4 times the amount of corners that we have. Like in that game, as in the Newcastle game on Saturday, they had 16 corners, 16, and we had 3. Like, how's that possible? Like, what the hell's going on? So that's a cause for concern. I need to see a change there, man, because right now that is really worrying and it's scaring me. Do you know what I mean? Because we can't keep a clean sheet to save our lives, but we shouldn't be allowing teams to get free, like easy passes, like a free hit. So teams are just, it's very easy to score against us. And this kind of goes back to my question about Ange. Like, you know how to play us on corners and set pieces. You know how we're always going to play out from the back. You know that our fullbacks are going to be high and they're going to crowd the space and basically become inverted 8s. You know that typically all of our players are going to come from the wing and we're going to cross it in. I can tell you literally man for man, word for word, minute for minute how we're going to play. And if I know that, you know that, then they know that. And it's very predictable. And it's all well and good having 67% possession, 73% possession, all of this shit. But at the end of the day, if you're not creating chances to put the ball away and not scoring, then it's a problem. And, you know, we went on a nice run of scoring all these goals and this and that. But in the last couple of games, we've had a couple blanks. Like, we obviously didn't score against Newcastle. We didn't score against Fulham. We're having a lot of blanks in recent games in these away games. And it is a cause for concern for me. And that does need to change. And that will go back to the next thing that I'm going to segue into, which is our away form. It is a worry for me. And I'll take it back to 2024. So since the turn of the year, we've had 6 games and we've only won 1. The win was a nice win, don't get me wrong. Probably against the best team out of all of them. We smashed Villa 4-0, who are obviously our current league rivals for that 4th spot. It was a brilliant game, clean sheet. We absolutely dominated them, and I thought, cool, okay, we turned the corner here. And then obviously in the next 2 games, it was a bit, do you know what I mean? But Man United away 2-2, cool. Man United on the day, a decent team, okay. Everton away 2-2, frustrating, but again, Everton on the day can be a decent team. The Villa one was fantastic. Fulham away 3-0, that was really bad. That was on the that was on my birthday weekend, and that was a shocker, really bad. Didn't turn up, second best in every department, and they battered us from pillar to post, just like the Newcastle game. West Ham away, frustrating game, but you know, you take a draw there, you dust your shoulders off, you go again. But yeah, 1 win in 6, 1 clean sheet in 6, 3 draws, 2 losses. It's not good enough, man. For a team trying to secure the top 4, you need a better away form than that. And like I said, it just seems in these away games we've been sussed out. I personally think we've been sussed out home and away, but obviously in the away games it is tougher. You've got the 12th man, the crowd, and sometimes things don't go your way. So let me know you lot's thoughts on that, what you think in the comments. Let's see what these lot are saying as well. Yeah, what's good? How you doing? Holly as well. Yes. Holly's Hot Spurs. Go check her out. The title's right there. Obviously, just type it in. Fantastic content creator, doing really good things. She was even in the away program. I think it's when we played Fulham. I think she was in the program there, just talking about obviously her journey and what she's been up to. And yeah, she has a good show and gets a lot of good people on there. I've been on there a few times as well, so that does help. But yeah, no, good person, nice person. Go check her out. okay, I wanted it to work for Werner because he tries so hard, but we need consistency and quality. Yeah, exactly. And that's my point. I think Werner's a good guy. He's a decent player, but I don't want to see him starting week in and week out. And that's my concern, is if we activate the 15 million cause for Werner, then they'll try and make an excuse how we had 50 million for a winger. Now we spent 15, so we only have 35, and we got to do this. We got to sell before we buy, and yada, yada, yada. Go out and put the money down for a top winger. And if you do that and get Werner, then cool. I'm happy with that. I'm okay. But I don't want to see Werner starting week in and week out. And if he's going to be the only winger we bring in, then no, it's a no for me. So, you know, we've got a couple games left, 6 games, more than a couple. Let's see what he does. But as I've seen and what I've seen so far, I think, you know, it kind of goes off what he's been doing, isn't it? It's nothing different to what he does and what he's been doing. Decent on his day, a threat, but ultimately when push comes to shove and you need him to take a chance, he doesn't. But even in the Newcastle game, he had 2 good chances before they scored. And if he tucks one of them away, it's a totally different game. Brennan Johnson put in a brilliant cross. And instead of the guy going to just head it, he does some weird motion, kicks it, it skies into Rose, and it's a comical miss. It's another sitter that he's missed. And it's just the same story. And, you know, they say that insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. We know what he's like in front of goal. I can't expect him to then all of a sudden become one of the most clinical scorers. And it's not going to happen. So that's what I like with it. Do you know what I mean? Why do we need a world-class winger if Son... if Son goes back to the wing, but that means for me, you need to buy a top striker. And personally, I still think we need another world-class winger because we play an expansive brand of football. It takes her out a lot on the legs. We need rotation. We're going to be in Europe as well. We're definitely finishing in the European spot next year. So we're going to have a lot more games. We need quality. For me, I said this on Last Word on Spurs on Saturday after the game. I need to see at least 200 million spent in the summer. We need a top quality number 6. I feel that our defensive centre-backs, our defensive line is left exposed. Obviously, the way we play, the fullbacks are never defending. Centre-backs are pushing up. We need a blocker, a sitter to sit in front of the 2 and just make sure they're not always one-on-one with, obviously, attackers. If you're one-on-one against quality attackers, they will sometimes get the better of you, and then it's a goal. Isaac on Saturday, 9 times out of 10, Micky VDV or Kiko Romero cut the ball out, and obviously we go again and we don't think about it. But when it happens, once it happens, twice, happens 3 times, they imprint on your memory, and they show you that in the bigger games against a better competition, you will be one-on-one with top players, with top attacking players, and you're in the land of the gods if it doesn't go your way. And obviously Isaac one-on-one, he's going to tuck that chance away, and he did again. And yeah, we just need someone to absolutely nullify that. Stop it before it happens. A Paulinho, perfect example at Fulham. He just does all the dirty work and just gets the ball away. And, you know, that's it. Recycles the ball and we go again. The only thing with Paulinho is he does pick up a lot of yellow cards, but I don't mind that. I like that physicality. I like that no-nonsense approach. Do you know what I mean? So that's why we need a world-class winger. And we need a striker as well because, like I said earlier, Richarlison's not reliable. There's always something going on with him. And I don't mean that to be a bit of a dick. Like, I'm just saying that from a footballing standpoint, you need your players to be active and available. And he's always injured, or there's always this, there's always that. And ultimately, I need my guys to be available, man. And that's why as well, shout out to Højbjerg, because, you know, whatever's going on, so, you know, some people like him, some people don't, some people are fans, some people aren't, but this guy's always professional, always available. And when he does play, regardless if it's on the, you know, starting, coming off the, you know, off the bench and playing 20 minutes, 30 minutes, the guy puts his shift in. He's always willing to die for the badge and fight for the cause. And that's what you need, man. You need players like that are available, hungry, and are ready to basically run through a brick wall for their team or for their manager. And I need a striker that's available, man. I need a striker that is going to get me 20 goals because Richarlison, I said at the beginning of the season, I'm going to stick to it, irrespective of the injuries, irrespective of what's going on. I said I need a number 9 that can get me at least 15 goals. If he's not going to do that, forget it. That's the minimum I want, bare minimum from a team that scores as many goals as we do and is fighting for top 4, top 6, whatever it is. I need my striker to get me 15 goals minimum. Richarlison's on 10. I'll leave it there. Do you know what I mean? Love your Doji and think will be great. We're playing. Yeah, that's a good point as well. I love Udogie. I think he's fantastic, but he is young. There are mistakes in his defending and in his positioning and all of these things you expect from a young player. If you take it back to when Kyle Walker was that age, was Kyle Walker even playing for Tottenham? He might have even been in the Championship at that age. Danny Rose definitely wasn't playing in the top level at that age. Again, he was on, like when you look at all the top players at his age, he's a brilliant player. First year in the Premier League, new manager, new system, all of this stuff. And he's been brilliant in games. Some games he hasn't been at his best, but it's a long season. Obviously, he's played a lot of football, and he's still finding his feet. And so I can't be too harsh on the kid. He is literally a kid. He's been brilliant, but he does need competition for his space. He's a starter week in and week out, and obviously sometimes it can creep in a bit of like the word's not really with me, but like when you complacency, that's it. When you know that you're starting week in and week out, you can kind of get complacent. You know that your spot's there. Like sometimes you need guys hungry on your heels, and that competition pushes and raises the level in training and obviously on the pitch. And Udogie's brilliant. He's going to definitely be one of the best players in the world in his position, but there have been a few mistakes recently, positioning wise. Sloppy passes, like lazy passes, giving the ball away, conceding possession in dangerous areas, all of that stuff. So yeah, competition for places is great. And this is what I mean. Like the squad is decent, don't get me wrong. The spine is there. You got your two centre backs, you got your goalkeeper, you got your full backs. Like I'm happy with all of that. The defensive midfield position is up for debate. The six, Bentancur, Basuma, are they good enough to play the way we want to play all the time? Do we need a real enforcer, or can these guys together do it? But then obviously there's big questions on the wing and up front. So the spine is there, but there still needs to be additional pieces. And then you're going in Europe as well. So yeah. Ange ball worked at first because it was new, but everybody has read how to F up Ange Postecoglou Spurs manual. Only a few paragraphs needed, so we're done. I kind of agree. I'm not going to take such a negative approach as you, Ian. So shout out to you, obviously. Like, thank you for tuning in and sending a comment. I like it. It makes a lot of sense, but I'm not going to say we're done, because every game is a clean slate and a chance to right your wrongs. And I'm hoping that Ange can tweak things and the players can step up as well. It's not all on the Ange. Some of the players haven't been performing at their level. But then also it is on Ange in a sense of, if you know something's not working or a player's not playing well or whatever, you've got to take them out of the firing line. You've got to rotate, drop, whatever you want to call it. It is easy to play against us. I said this earlier on in the show. I'm not sure when you jumped in here, but if you watch it from the beginning, it's quite obvious how we're going to play and what we're going to do. We play it every game, no matter who we're playing. That needs to change. And Ange needs to tweak things. Like the formula is decent and it's kind of there. Like you're playing front foot, aggressive football. You're dominating the ball. You're overloading spaces. You're creating chances. I say with inverted commas because that has kind of dried up recently. But the foundation is there. But there needs to be a few tweaks. And I'm hoping that he can do that for the remaining 6 games. Because obviously, this league is ruthless. And the best managers, what they're going to do. But they will change it and spring something on you. But ultimately, they're going to keep doing it until they obviously break that door down and score the goals. And right now, there's something missing, and that needs to change. We'll go to Ian again. Only those capable of evolving and adapting to local conditions can ever hope to advance. It pains me to say that, but Ange Postecoglou is just out of his depth. Final running will be tough. Yeah, it's a bit. I hear you. I hope you're wrong. I do agree with obviously the top parts of what you were saying is pretty much mirrors what I said. Out of his depth, time will tell. Final one is definitely going to be tough, irrespective of what form we're in. When you look at the teams we've got left, we're just going to have to see. And fingers crossed. Fingertips pointed to the sky. We pray, and we just hope that we've got Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, Man City, Burnley, and Sheffield United. I think last game of the season. But mad. The amount of money that Ange Postecoglou gets this summer will be a good indicator of how long he will be at Spurs. I agree. Unless he's spending 200 million, forget it, man. I'm sorry, but we need ultimately to be backed. Like you look at the top three clubs, yeah, they're a level above everyone else. Like, let's have it right. Let's just be honest. City, Liverpool, and Arsenal are the three best teams in the league. The order of how they land or where they lay, that's up for debate, and we will see. I'll probably say City are the best team. And then obviously it's Liverpool and Arsenal. It's a toss-up between those two. We'll see in that. But they are cut above the rest. Then as it stands right now, you've got Aston Villa and Tottenham. Then there's another divide. And then obviously you've got your Newcastles, your Man Uniteds, your West Hams. Then there's probably another cut. Then you've got all the other teams like your Wolves, your Fulhams, you know, and so on, Bournemouth. And then obviously you've got potentially the relegation teams or whatever. But there are clear divisions in the league. And for us to get into that next step or that next tier, we need real investment. And if that doesn't happen, and forget it, like you're flattering to deceive, innit? You're fighting a losing battle. The best you can ever finish is 4th or 5th, and that's if you have a great season. You're never going to crack the top 3 with the squad that we've got unless real investment is made. And even now, if you look at Arsenal, they're balling out of their skin. They were the best team last year. They fell flat at the end. They've been fantastic this year. Now you're starting to see, you know, creaks in the armory and all of that. And you've got to be absolutely insane to beat this Man City and these Liverpool teams. And we're nowhere near that level. We can get there if things go our way. Klopp's leaving. You don't know what's going to happen next season with Liverpool. If they're saying that Amorim's coming in and he's the guy, how well he does in his first year. Obviously, he's a good coach, but it's going to take time. How long is Pep going to be there? Every year we question, do Man City have the fight to go again? And every year they show us they do. But again, Pep won't be there forever. But what you need to do is align yourself so you're ready when these guys drop off, then you're ready to strike. And right now, my fear is, as much as I don't like them, like if these two teams drop off, then Arsenal are right there, isn't it? Like Arsenal will step into that top spot. And yeah, they are, you know, we don't know how they are down the stretch right now, if they're going to crumble again, if we're going to laugh at them 3 years in a row, bottling it from an advantageous position. But if the other two teams are not at the level that they're at, then Arsenal will walk the league in the sense of, not walk the league, but they'll definitely be the best team. Do you get what I mean? So, yeah, it's a concern if we don't actually fight and battle to, do you know what I mean, to step up. Let's see what else is coming through in the comments. Typically, we've got some Newcastle fans in, and you know what? Fair play, man. Obviously, HWTL is away the lads, and fair play, man. You lot were the better team on the day. It hurts me to say that, and you know, obviously, I was pissed off. I still am pissed off, but credit where credit is due. You played a blinder. You were fantastic to a man. Your coach got things right. Your players stepped up and performed on the day. And that's what you want to see from your team. Do you know what I mean? You want to see that fight, that desire, and that skill, and that end product when it matters. So, yeah, fair play, man. The funny thing is, I was looking at the table and I had a little sit down and thinking, I was like, you know what? If Newcastle had a fit team, as in, like, obviously every team's going to have injuries, but their injury crisis or record this year has been insane. But imagine if Newcastle had half of those players available, where would they be in the league? Because they're like 6th right now. They're having a strong second, like, final wind or rush to the end of the season. And yeah, man, they're playing some decent football and they're getting some results. And it's made me think that, maybe next year they could be a force to be reckoned with if they can keep a fit squad and obviously add a couple of players. We keep hearing that they're going to have to sell to buy, and they were saying before the game, do you have to sell Isaac or Bruno Guimaraes and this and that? If you've got to sell one of your best players, then that is going to affect you massively. But as it stands, fair play to them, man. They're doing okay and they've got some good results, and obviously they absolutely smashed us. So, yeah, credit where credit's due. Do you know what I mean? Ange's biggest issue is his refusal to play a genuine holding midfielder. It's naive at best. Yeah, and this is what I said. It's a great comment, Matt. This is what I'm saying. We need a quality number 6 in the summer. Or you get one of the guys to just be disciplined and play that position. If you want to do that, for me, it'd probably be Højbjerg right now. He's not the most mobile and agile, but he is probably the most disciplined in the sense of he's going to keep in his space and just rotate the ball. And he's a decent player. He's a good player. He doesn't fit the system, and he's kind of, I feel he's been unlucky because every time he's played recently, he's done well. A couple of times when he's come on, he's looked a bit shaky when he's trying to play out from the back and overdo it. But technically, he's very good, and he's a good player, man. I do like him. I just don't think he fits our system long term. But if you're talking about for the rest of the games playing a genuine holding midfielder, he's probably the best at it. Basuma, obviously, and Bentancur are 100% more silky and more skillful, more better on the eye, probably a bit more agile, but they're not as disciplined as Højbjerg, and they don't sniff out danger as well as he does. So, they all have their pros and cons, but as it stands right now, if you're talking about someone just to sit and block whilst the other guys maraud and lord forward, I'd say for me, he's the better option. Yeah, okay. So yeah, I'm in the middle, not a genius, but also not naive. He just believes. So this is Jacob from United Spurs of America. Shout out to Jacob. He's talking about Ange Postecoglou and what he feels about him. So he's like, I'm in the middle, not a genius, but he's also not naive. He just believes in his philosophy and wants players to execute. And I believe in all our losses and draws that if we took our chances and created more in the final third, critical and finishing, and we don't see those results. That is a good point. Newcastle, we had a chance, 640 to score. Yeah, I think that is the team that won a chance. Every loss we have these chances, and that's just down to Ange tactics. I hear you. We are creating chances, but we're conceding a lot more chances than we're creating, if we're being real. And that's a cause for concern. I can't remember the last time we kept a clean sheet. Well, I lie. It's a figure of speech. Our last clean sheet was Aston Villa away, and the last clean sheet before that was probably Nottingham Forest away on December the 15th. So yeah, mad, isn't it? Like, we're not keeping enough clean sheets. Sometimes the best team's not always going to be at the races offensively, but then at least you want to be decent defensively. But we're fighting 2 battles in every game. We're always conceding. And then so you always have to score at least 2 to win a game. And it's crazy. You can't live like that. It's not sustainable. That's a term that we hate hearing. It's from the Jose era, Conte era, sustainable football. But it's not sustainable to concede so many chances and so many goals every game and expect to win games. Like, it's hard. It's fucking hard. It's nigh on impossible. And that needs to change. But shout out, I agree with what you're saying. I totally hear it. But yeah, you know what? Less of that, enough of that. Oh, actually, hold on. Hi, Pat and Holly, 2 of my favorites. Oh, okay, cool, man. That's that's cool, man. I like that. Yeah, Holly's brilliant. Like I said, everyone in here, if you're not following and sub to Holly already, do that. She provides brilliant content. I think every Monday at 8 p.m. is when she does the roundup and the review of the week. And then I know she does other shows as well. Obviously, I can't remember everything off the top, but go check her out and you'll see it for yourself. If we get a 6 over the summer, do you think he'll move Biss to an 8? Yeah, I do think so. I don't think Biss is a 6, personally. I think he's an 8. He needs freedom. He needs, obviously, the opportunity to be a player, go forward. He's decent at tackling. He reads the game well, but he's not someone who is defensively and, I'm just trying to think of the right word, basically disciplined. And that's why I'm saying I'd rather Højbjerg right now, because Højbjerg's more disciplined and just a bit smarter in that role. And obviously, I think Ange is telling Biss to play a certain way, and he's playing him out of position, the same way he's playing Son out of position. So sometimes when people are going in on Basuma, I do hear it, but I'm also like, this isn't Biss's natural position, so you're not going to see the best version of him. So, needs must when it comes to football. Sometimes you have to sacrifice yourself for the greater good and for the team, but sometimes as well, when I'm seeing players played out of position, you also have to realize that when you're going in on them, like you're playing Maddison as a fucking winger and he plays for England, and you see him and you're like, what's he doing out on the wing? It's stupid, isn't it? Same way, like if you're playing Biss as a 6 and he's not really a 6, he's an 8, it's gonna. So yeah, everyone and their mother was saying it's going to be a rebuild and we will get a few beatings, but obviously when those beatings happen, people have flip-flopped on what they said. I like that. That is actually a really good point. But are these people flip-flopping, or are they just reiterating what they're seeing and voicing their causes for concern? So it's if I put things into context, before the season started, I predicted us to finish 9th. I'm not going to lie to you. I predicted us to finish 9th, Ange Postecoglou, unknown to the Premier League. There's some very good managers in here. We had an awful season. Teams that are obviously more advanced in their progress, their cycle, whatever you want to call it, than us. The top four I predicted to be... I've actually got my notes. I should actually just read it off the top instead of... I always always say all these things off the top. I've actually got a notepad with everything in it. So I'm going to go to it. But obviously, I predicted the top three to be Liverpool, Arsenal, Man City. That's obvious. Then I predicted... I'm going to read it through to you so you can see where I was coming from. But basically, yes, I expected a rebuild. I expected pain. I expected there to be some bumps in the road, but some of the bumps in the road are avoidable. And this is why I think people are annoyed, because when you're doing things, it's like walking into a burning forest and then wondering why you're sweating or why you get hot or why you get burnt. Sometimes you can see what's coming and you're not actually preparing yourself for what's around the corner. And that's what annoys me and frustrates me. Yeah, so my Premier League prediction on Monday, the 7th of August, 2023. So you can see it there. So you lot know that it's not made up. It's actually Man City first. I said Arsenal to finish second. Okay. Liverpool third. Man United fourth. Newcastle fifth. Chelsea sixth. Villa seventh. Brighton eighth. And Spurs ninth. So yeah, so I expected there to be a rebuild. I expected there to be pain and bumps. But like I said, you can also set yourself up so you're not going through these issues over and over and over again. Ange's got 6 games to go. We just want to see a bit of tactical nous, a bit of inventiveness, change things up a bit, like shock the team that we're playing, make them think about what they got to do instead of it being so routine and easy to play against. And right now, I said this on Last Word on Spurs, I think that we're easy to play against. It's predictable. It's obvious what we're going to do. I think Ange is a decent manager. The jury's still out on him on certain occasions, but he's done well. He's had a good season, but obviously it's how we finish, isn't it? It's not how you start, it's how you finish. 3 manager of the months in a row, Maddison player of the month to begin with, Son as well. Things were rosy in the beginning, but now when you've got these niggles and these injuries and all these things that you've got going on and people kind of suss you out, and at the end of the day, Jurgen Klopp, Pep Guardiola, Arteta, all these managers that have been here for a while, we know what they're likely to do, but they still get a result. That's what Ange needs to do now, and that's where we'll see what he's about. That's where he'll earn his corn, in my opinion. First year was always going to be painful about philosophy and culture, in my opinion. If the transfer window is a bust and Ange is still doing the same mistakes second season, then yeah, 100%. But we're 3 points off the top 4 with a game in hand, and we can all see the games where we've been very silly and dropped points, etc., etc. Obviously, it's not a given Newcastle away. You can get beaten in those games. The frustration are the games that we've actually controlled and dominated and should have won. But anyway, it is a learning year. I'm not going crazy. I'm not one of these guys. Even though I didn't want Ange Postecoglou to begin with, I warmed to him. I said, once he's here, I'm going to embrace him. I'm going to support him. I'm going to get behind him. Pause. And I've done all of that. I'm not going to flip-flop. I've not been Ange out. I don't think I've flip-flopped, to be honest, but I've just voiced my concerns when I've seen them. And, we're all within our rights to do so. I can't be Ange out in the first year. If he finishes in the top 6, that's a fantastic season considering what we did last year. I personally feel we're finished. I'm not going to do that. But yeah, I think we're finishing the top 5. We're not going to finish lower than that. It's a good season. Obviously, there's signs that it could have been better, but we're still in it, man. So I'm not going to complain too much. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, thank you for all the comments. There's been a lot, and it's been fun to obviously be spontaneous and just go off what's going on in the comments instead of obviously what I had lined up. But what I will say is, on a positive note, shout out to the women's football team, because they played on Sunday at the stadium, and I was in an arm because we bought tickets ages ago before all of this. I say we. Shout out to Christina from Christina Zandes. You might have seen her on Last Word on Spurs a few times. So one of my friends, really good girl. And she, when the tickets were available, she obviously said, yeah, let's go, let's do it. And a few of us decided to jump on board. So yeah, we went to the game at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on Sunday, and it was Tottenham Hotspur women, Spurs women versus Leicester. Tight game. Leicester scored early. Spurs were kind of in control, but scored late, probably in like 78th, 80th minute. Then it went to extra time, and we won it in extra time, and we made the final. So there you go, man. They're the 2 goal scorers. It was a good game. And I'm gonna just move this comment just so that like you guys can see the screen fully. And I'm gonna move that banner as well so you guys can see. But yeah, so Becky Spencer, Ashley Neville, and Beth England. So yeah, in the finals, baby, we're going to Wembley. So hopefully there's, you know, light at the end of the tunnel for one of the Spurs teams, and we actually win some silverware. That'd be fantastic. And this is a picture from us on the day. So there you go. So obviously myself, Christina, and yeah, great game, man. Great game, great day. Sorry, my phone's just going off in the background. Bear with me one sec. Give me 1 second. So yeah, no, it was a good game, fantastic game. We had a great day out, and it was lovely to see as well, like everyone in the stadium enjoying themselves. Like obviously, it's so hard to get to a game nowadays. Like, you know, season ticket holder, if you're somebody who's a member, you've got a queue, and you have to be in the queue hours before the tickets gates open, all of that stuff. You may not get a ticket. It's difficult. So it was nice to see at the stadium, obviously families, young kids probably going for their first game, all of that stuff. And it was a great feel-good factor. And obviously the women put on a good show and they won the game. But yeah, go back to what I was saying. So myself, Daisy, and Christina, that was us on the day. So yeah, really nice day. Hopefully as well, like a lot of you guys can make the final. Go down, let's go down, support the women's team, and hopefully see us win some silverware. Man United played Chelsea in the other semi-final. Man United won, which is actually quite good because Chelsea are a strong team. Don't get me wrong, Man United are good as well, but Chelsea are the cup holders, and obviously they're really strong. Man United knocked them out, so it's the lesser of the 2 rivals playing them. Hopefully we can turn up on the day and we can win it. And last but not least, I want to shout out Dele Ali. So he was on our Monday Night Football a couple of days ago, basically as the host pundit, talking about the Chelsea-Tottenham game. Sorry, Chelsea-Everton, apologies. Everton-Chelsea game. And obviously he was a great guest to have because Chelsea and I coached by Mauricio Pochettino, and obviously Dele was coached by him during his best years at Tottenham. And now he's at Everton, and Everton were playing. So he was good to have on, and it was good to hear his insight. It was great to see that he's doing well. He talks well. He looks in good health and good spirits. And hopefully, you know, we all want the best for Dele Ali, man. We love him. He's a free agent in the summer. Hopefully he gets over his injury because he said he's injured at the moment. That's why he's not been featuring. And hopefully, yeah, he can just return back to the Dele Ali that we all know and love. He's 28 now, and he was saying that he has a reminder on his phone every day at 11 a.m. that he wants, and it says England summer 2026. So he's saying he wants to get into the England squad for the next World Cup. That's his goal. Obviously, we'll see if he makes it. But at the end of the day, it's always great to have a plan, a dream, and to follow those dreams. And he was a fantastic player. He rose from the lower leagues. No one would have envisioned this story. And he was balling out of control at the highest level, Champions League, Euros, and this and that for England. He was a brilliant player. So if he can get back to that level, obviously it's going to be difficult. But I respect him that he's brave enough to talk about it and to put it out there. And now hopefully, you know, he can follow that plan and that dream and get back to the level that we've seen Dele at. Because on his day, oh my God, that guy was so good. I was obviously I go to all the games, but one game I remember specifically is when we played Chelsea and they was on a crazy run. I think it was under the Conte era, and everyone was talking about how he's going to batter us. He hadn't beaten them in ages, and then Dele Ali scored 2 goals and we beat them 2-0, and it stopped their run. I think they was on a crazy run of something like that would have been a record-breaking whatever. And yeah, 2-0. Dele Ali scored 2 goals and just shut them right up. And I just remember Dele Ali, the cheeky nutmegs, the flicks, the crazy goals from all angles, running into the box. He was Lampard-esque, but also had a bit of skill. He had a bit about him, do you know what I mean? Like, wasn't the quickest guy, wasn't the most skillful, but he always had a trick in him, always popped up with a crucial goal, always a lovely bit of skill, always did something to get you off the edge of your seat. So shout out to Dele Ali. And I just want to talk about our next run of fixtures. Obviously, our next game is the big one. It's the North London derby, the biggest game of our season, so to speak. The game that a lot of people look for as soon as the calendar was released. So our next game is Arsenal at home. They lost 2-0 out in their last game to Aston Villa. The Premier League's crazy, isn't it? It's absolutely mental. Like, obviously, it's not a given that Arsenal beat Aston Villa. Of course not. Aston Villa are a good team. But I didn't expect Aston Villa to beat them 2-0 the way they did. Unai Emery tactical masterclass. And this is what I mean. Like, it's funny though, isn't it? Because like I can take with one hand, I can give with one hand, and I can take away with the other. Unai Emery at home to us got schooled. We beat them 4-0. And people said, Emery shouldn't have changed, and he did this and he did that, and it didn't work. But then he goes to the Emirates and plays a blinder, and they beat Arteta 2-0. So it doesn't always, managers don't always get it right. But Emery typically, more often than not, gets it right. And he had a good game, and they had a good game. Ollie Watkins, that final goal was sumptuous. It was beautiful. But yeah, Arsenal second in the league on 71 points, as we know. It's going to be a toughie, man. Can't call it at the moment. Arsenal haven't been... they've been okay in it. They've lost 2 games in a row now. The annoying thing is we have a 2-week break. After a bad loss like Newcastle away, you want to play like within the next 3 or 4 days. We've got a 2-week break. So in that space, Arsenal would have played 3 times. They played yesterday by Munich. They got Wolves on the weekend. Then they got Chelsea, and then we played them. So they're going to have played 3 games, 4, whatever it is. Yeah, 3 games while we've not played a game. So they're going to be sharp. The beauty is they could be tired. There could be some injuries. Saka's nursing the injury. They said Odegaard had to be past fit late on in the day. All of this stuff. But the problem is, obviously, they will be sharp because they're going to be in gear and rhythm, where we've had a 2-week layoff, and that can sometimes make you a bit like you're just a bit sleepy, innit, going into the game. So we'll see. The head-to-heads, I checked it out, and I was quite surprised, to be fair. Usually they're quite tight, but in the last 5 games, Arsenal have won 3. We've only won 1, and there's been 1 draw. So they've actually got better of us in the last 5, which was quite shocking. But then I remember they beat us 2-0 at home last year, didn't they? And we were nowhere near it. We couldn't get near the ball. I remember that game. It was awful. That was a game where I actually awoke to how good Odegaard was, because before I was like, he's all right. But in that game, he absolutely bossed us. We couldn't get near him, and he scored a sick goal. And I was like, fuck. Obviously, I was fuming on the day, but seeing it live, I was like, you know what, this guy's good. And then I thought, you know what, fair enough, innit? Like, I hate giving them their flowers, but in that game, I awoke to how good he is. I still think Maddison's better though, but Maddison needs to step up, man. He needs to come alive now. This is your time, Maddison. Your time to shine. We'll forget about the other 5 or 6 games where you've not been at your best. If you come alive now, we need your magic and your creativity in this North London derby, like you did in the away game, and we need you to rise against these teams now. Like, please, I need to see the best version of Tottenham Hotspurs. I can't see the same shit I've been seeing for the last couple of games. I need creativity. I need some nous. I need some spice. I need some pizzazz. I need some crunching tackles. I need everything from these guys. Leave it all on the pitch. Leave it all out there. And if we lose, we lose. But do not do what you've been doing in these last couple of games, where you've been walking and crying and moaning and raising your arms, and no one's taking responsibility, and it's this person's problem and that person's problem, but not your problem. I need to see togetherness. I need to see some fight. I need to see some desire. And I need to see Ange Postecoglou make changes if they need to be made. I don't want to see the guy just standing there like that for 95 minutes. Make changes. Get into the game. If things aren't working, like you did against whoever you did at halftime, I can't remember off the top of my head, but you made changes on the 45th minute. I need to see that. I need to see some urgency. There's only 6 games left. Let's go. Let's fucking finish strong, and let's finish in the top 4 and at least salvage something of the season. Because right now we're just petering away, and we're sleepwalking to the finish line, and we're like zombies in the fucking final apocalypse, and it's just it's not the Tottenham I want to see. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, let's go, man. Let's do this. And I'm kind of rambling on. I only wanted to do about 25 minutes. I'm not going to lie. I've done an hour and 10 mental. So apologies if I've kept you a lot longer than you wanted. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I am going to wrap up now. Yeah. But obviously, like I said, if you enjoyed it, please hit that sub, follow me, It's Patrick Tyrant on Twitter. That's the main football account. I am on Instagram as well. It's a bit more not family focused, but obviously it's a private account, but send me a request, I'll add you on there. And yeah, until the next time, just take care of yourself, be good, be kind to each other, support one another, get behind your friends and family, show some love apart from when it's football and derby day and all of that stuff. And yeah, man, keep cool, keep safe, and obviously, like I said, let's enjoy life. Let's enjoy the end of this season. It's going to be spicy, man. There's a lot of jeopardy riding on it. Obviously, the top 3 teams, anyone can win it. Who's going to finish 4th? Who's finishing in that top 6, that top 7? And also, the relegation scrap is really tasty right now, especially with the points deduction. But yeah, I am rambling on a bit. My name is Patrick Tyrant. This is Chatty Patty. Take care. God bless. And I will definitely see you all soon. Take care, man. See you later.